Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Snyder, the Director of Teacher and Principal Support at the Nebraska Department of Education. And I'd like to thank you for joining my esteemed colleagues and me as we talk about one of the newly revised Nebraska Teacher and Principal Performance Standards. I'll have my colleagues introduce themselves now.
Hi everyone, I'm Ellie Fields, and I'm a former high school student from Harvard Public Schools.
Hi, I'm Michelle Helt, a third grade teacher in South Sioux City and the 2018 Nebraska Teacher of the Year.
Hi everybody, I'm Julie Downing. I work as a staff developer for ESU 13, and I also work in a partnership with NDE in the Office of Educator Effectiveness.
Hello everyone, I'm Mike Tian. I'm a professor in educational administration in the College of Education here at the University of Nebraska at Kearney.
Hello everyone, I am Tawana Grover, Superintendent of Grand Island Public Schools.
Hi, I'm Charity Labrie, a principal with Grand Island Public Schools.
Thanks, everyone. The Teacher and Principal Performance Standards will serve as the foundation for a much larger educator effectiveness system that will focus on a shift in how Nebraska supports and develops its teachers and principals. This shift is rooted in two primary themes, equity and data-based decision-making, which will become visible through a common language of expectations, a better understanding of the knowledge and skills necessary to be effective teachers and principals in Nebraska, a focus on a commitment to staff support and development, and a focus on engagement of family and community members. Charity, I think today we're going to talk about the principal standard of operations and management. And Charity, since you're the principal of this crew, I'll go ahead and have you start talking about it while I share my screen.
Absolutely. When I think of this standard, I think of intentionally using resources efficiently and effectively, whether they be human resources, financial resources, or the school day schedule.
When I think of this standard, I think of how smooth or lack thereof the school day is run.
The standard itself reads, "The principal manages the organization, operations, and resources of the school to provide a safe, efficient, and effective learning environment for all students and staff."
Indicator A states an effective principal, in collaboration with the educational community, establishes, implements, and communicates the school's policies, protocols, and daily operations to promote the vision, mission, and goals of the school.
Effective principals lead their schools by impacting the hearts, minds, and actions of those they work with. A school's vision, mission, and goals are an indicator of the beliefs, values, and actions. Are the instructional practices aligned to the learning goals? Do our actions reflect our beliefs? When there are discrepancies, principals must realign actions through a collaborative process in support of the vision, mission, and learning goals.
Superintendents who lead effective systems are able to support principals through clear communication of expectations, provide the necessary resources for the principal to develop as an instructional leader, and offer guidance to the strategic implementation of the plan. This allows principals to serve as the instructional leader and lead a process to define what the school believes about effective instruction and then provide resources to achieve those beliefs.
ESUs work in consortiums to provide more affordable services and resources to schools in Nebraska. Whether it is cooperative buying or working together as a Title III group, ESUs listen to the regional needs and find efficient ways and cost-saving solutions to meet school needs.
Indicator B states an effective principal creates, implements, and sustains a system of conflict resolution among members of the educational community that aligns with the vision, mission, and goals of the school.
Inviting all voices to the table in a safe space often leads to very robust and helpful information sharing and gathering. When the superintendent models how to bring people along by anchoring discussions, changes, and initiatives in core mission work, this demonstrates who we are and how we operate to achieve goals. It is important that the principals communicate to students, staff, and parents how to address concerns. Principals must be aware of and institute intentional strategies to eliminate bias while creating avenues to equitable opportunities for every student.
Effective principals create a system of support and development that provides the opportunity for all staff and students to hold themselves to the high expectations that exist. Within this system, there is an effective conflict resolution process focused on clarity of roles and responsibilities, and an understanding of how to work together to achieve outcomes.
Discourse is a natural part of life. As an educator, I encourage and teach my students how to productively use discourse. I expect the same from my principal. It is a fact of life individuals will not always agree. As a leader in the school, a principal's ability to create, implement, and sustain a system of conflict resolution within the educational community will help to maintain relationships within the school and further create a sense of trust and belief in the value of every person's opinion.
Indicator C states, an effective principal promotes the school as a community center and resource for families and community members.
Building relationships with all families in the school community and seeking supports that meet the needs of each family is a priority for principals. Creating a welcoming environment where families know the school is a partner for both their students' learning and their families' well-being is only part of the equation. Effective principals are constantly seeking out ways to engage the community and creating a two-way communication process.
The superintendent must lead an engagement process that connects the district and the schools to the community and vice versa. When done effectively, this directly supports principals and their ability to be effective in their own communication. So much can be accomplished when the communication process is systematic and engaging.
Principal preparation programs must continue to emphasize the importance of the village and the education of its children. It is important to keep in mind that it is our school and not my school. Effective engagement is a skill and something that must be taught as part of principal preparation programming. A strategic approach to building relationships with families is critical, and every member of society has a vital stake in the healthy development of our students.
Indicator D states an effective principal maintains an organized data system and uses the system consistently to communicate actionable information about classroom and school improvement with the educational community.
The superintendent positions the district to be consumers of data. When robust data systems are built that are reliable and relevant, principals are more likely to trust the data and use it more effectively to improve their own leadership skills and take actionable steps towards school improvement based on data.
The organized and systematic acquisition of data allows leaders to ask the hard questions, identifying the gaps, and to celebrate the success of students is only the first step towards progress. Principals must lean on the system to effectively determine what work needs to be reinforced, refined, or replicated.
Many ESU staff are ready to offer technical support on student information systems, cooperative buying, distance learning, special education services, grants, mental health, instruction, assessment, and others. ESUs have implemented a statewide database to curate data about services and cost savings. This network adds equity and value to the Nebraska educational landscape.
Indicator E states an effective principal, in collaboration with the educational community, uses multiple sources of relevant data to ensure academic and social interventions, accommodations, and curricular and extracurricular activities are available to meet the strengths and needs of each student.
Education is complex, and defining success for individual students is daunting. Principals must determine how to best tell the school's story, and in turn, help every student tell their own story. Effective principals seek out multiple perspectives to better understand the needs of the community. This is done through intentional data collection system that ultimately allows for schools to best understand individual students.
Superintendents are responsible for identifying all relevant data that appropriately defines the district's reality, along with the data that informs decision makers of vital steps toward the hopeful future. For principals, this data extends to all aspects of their campus needs and the needs of individual students. When using multiple sources of data, principals take into account the many factors that cultivate success for students and are able to engage in discussions with the district and the school community on best paths forward.
Just as teachers are expected to use a body of evidence to make choices about students, the principal should be using multiple sources of relevant data to make any decisions regarding students. Focusing on minimal pieces of data can result in inappropriate and at times inequitable decisions to be made, which can negatively impact students. As a teacher, I appreciate my principal understanding one piece of data does not represent the entire student and should not result in long or even short-term educational decisions, which can have a long-term impact on students.
Indicator F states an effective principal informs the development of, complies with, and helps the educational community understand local, state, and federal regulations, policies, and laws that impact the learning environment.
The effective superintendent works in tandem with the school board to ensure all policies, regulations, and laws are in alignment with local, state, and federal expectations, and also present in the learning environment at all times. Principals should be involved in aspects of policy development and guidelines for implementing policy. After all, principals are helping to lead the enactment of policy every day in ways that impact every child.
An effective principal's approach to decision-making rationales will lead to increased trust and patience within the school. At times, it may be difficult to find immediate solutions to the many new regulations, so process and communication become even more important.
Educator preparation programs will provide experiences to allow principal candidates to navigate the political landscape and actively engage with policymakers to advocate for kids and the learning environment. It is important for principals to learn to narrow the scope and focus communication strategies to meet the needs of the target audience and provide clarity.
Indicator G states an effective principal engages in responsible, ethical, and accountable budgeting and accounting practices.
Effective principals approach financial processes with the same responsibility and accountability they have for their personal finances. School funding is a resource that must be maximized to ultimately meet the needs of all students and to contribute to the community. Effective principals implement a system to account for greater needs than resources and must balance creativity along with strategy.
Because of the scarcity of school funding, the modern day principal will need to shift to strategic budgeting and utilizing a defined process to establish clear priorities down to the initiative and impact level. The superintendent and/or financial administrators set principals up for success by involving them in the district's budgeting process and creating transparent protocols to align allocation equitably. The superintendent and board are expected to be on the front lines, helping the community at large understand the budgeting process and the intended outcomes that elevate the mission, vision, and strategic plan of the district.
ESU supports schools with professional development in rising legal precedents, policy updates, bookkeeper training, and legislative support. Regional superintendents serve as the advisory group to each ESU, ensuring that communication about common goals and supports are met.
Indicator H states an effective principal manages and monitors the school's site, facilities, services, and equipment to maintain a safe, clean, and healthy learning environment.
The educational environment sets the stage for learning at high levels because teachers and students alike are healthy and safe. As a superintendent, I feel it's my job to provide the necessary support to principals to ensure the mechanics of facility management is addressed and taken care of in a timely fashion. So as instructional leaders, the principals can focus on teaching and learning. They can do this when the district has dedicated personnel and procedures along with clear communication that we view as a sense of urgency toward addressing facility needs And all the more reason we establish a culture where our buildings and grounds team understand their contributions to student success.
Effective principals understand that the way students and staff feel at school has a tremendous impact on their ability to achieve. In addition to the environment, principals must be vigilant to observe the safety and cleanliness of the school property. Ensuring a safe and clean learning environment sets the tone for a student's learning.
As an educator, my focus is providing the best educational experience possible for every student in my classroom. A principal who ensures the school environment is safe, clean, and healthy allows educators to invest their time and energy in student learning, resulting in greater student growth and achievement.
Indicator I states an effective principal manages staff resources, assigning staff members to roles that optimize their professional capacity to address each student's strengths and needs.
Effective principals are able to build professional capital within the school and educational community. This becomes a critical element of leadership when one has to make difficult decisions. For example, rearranging staff placement directly impacts on teacher comfort, confidence, and performance. These decisions can be so difficult, and many sleepless nights are invested before a final decision is reached in regards to staffing. It's important principals are focused on the heart of the school, our students, when making adjustments to the staffing plan.
Change is hard, especially when it is unexpected. However, change is also a necessary part of life and progress. When implementing change, especially staffing changes, it is important teachers are a part of the process to ensure a smooth transition and positive outcome. A principal needs to be open and honest about the rationale behind the changes, not doling out platitudes that is little to do to make teachers feel valued and they don't feel that the change is happening to them.
After listening to this conversation, I realized the importance of principals finding the balance between what's best for the students and what's best for the faculty. I can't imagine how difficult it would be to balance 200 people and all have the responsibility on your shoulders to not only get learning done, but to have the least stressful learning environment possible. Principals have a tough job, and in my opinion, an impossible job of trying to make everyone happy, but also realizing that there are requirements that need to be met, which results in a balancing act. Most students like at least some sort of structure during school, and I never realized it until now, but when the school day runs smoothly, it's due to the hard work that the principal has done. Students, whether they know it or not, feed off of the energy, positive or negative, that is expressed from their teachers. If the principal has helped the teacher to not be stressed, that will subconsciously result in a better learning environment for the students. This standard has really opened my eyes to the difficulty and weight that principals have when performing their job.
Again, I'd like to thank my colleagues for joining me in this endeavor. And if you have any questions, you may contact me at this email address. Thanks everybody for joining us.